finger down if you have asked yourself at one point in your life these questions. What do I really want to do with my life? Should I still be doing this? Did I choose the right path or can I go back? Who exactly am I meant to be?
Ginagawa mo!
The existentialist in us can't help but ask these questions kasi napakalaki ng universe and we, the speck of dust that we are, that teensy-weensy little thing is here to occupy space. So magtataka ka, bakit? Ano ba meron sa akin? And the curious human in us would naturally find an answer or we would find a way to arrive at an answer. There are those who find their North Star, or there are others who wait for the perfect timing or for the right sign. Some rely to astrology, some rely on faith, some rely on having a map, others rely on Siri or Google Assistant. All of these things, the reason why we rely on these things is they help scale down life into something sensible, something we can hold on to or grasp, something that makes one say, so kaya pala ako nandito. People use these things to help them discover their purpose in life. I, on the other hand, started to rely on a framework. It appears too clinical and calculated when you interpret life using a framework, especially compared to big words like the calling, our essence, and the shining light. By using a framework, it's as if you're just doing a structure or a thesis paper for something too big that is life. But basically, that's the one thing that you can see above. Look at the top part of my YouTube channel, and the cover photo there shows 4 speech bubbles interlocking to form that one special core. Basically, yun yung 4 things that I discuss on this channel. It is inspired by the Japanese concept of Ikigai and Andres Uzunaga's Venn diagram of purpose. I have a video of a shared story about my tattoo inspired by that. You can check it out, just click here. But basically the concept is life is not just about one thing. It's an intersection of many essential facets of our being and we must holistically view them. Well, honestly, what I find odd with some of life coach guidelines that we tend to consume is this obsession on attaining that one true thing for us, that life is just meant for the pursuit of that one thing, and once we have found it, tapos na, job well done, we can now sleep. But I think life is meant to be lived and be actively pursued, and by doing so, what it means is you need to expose yourself to many, many things. So yung mga existential questions I cited earlier, I tried to answer them by just following this framework. If you want to learn how, well, let me use myself as a case study. You can do this to yourself. This can bring clarity to your life. All you need is a pen and paper. Well, first it starts with 4 circles. It answers questions like what you're good at, what you love, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. As what you can notice, this balances out every single aspect of our lives. And then the intersection of these circles goes for vision, mission, profession, and vocation. Although note that there are other aspects of this as pointed by the Japanese concept of Ikigai, I guess this is a very basic way of doing it. What I find good about this is it recognizes the human in us who is self-interested, driven to do something, transcendental, and a social being in this world. You can't fully isolate yourself in one aspect because if you're living, you will inevitably touch other circles. Now, what to do next is these 3 steps. Now, for the first part is on the side, write all the things that answer the 4 questions for each circle. Don't overthink it, just write all the activities or projects in your life that, that perfectly answers these questions. Let it all freely flow out of your mind. Do not think about what is good or bad, what is popular or not, what is big or small. A good way is to look at what you are currently engaged in and what you have tried out before. These are all your truths. The second one is arrange and compile these pieces in each area. You'd notice that you get to identify the shared spaces for each. If you feel that an activity or project only goes for one circle, that's totally fine. If you feel that it goes in between the intersection of 2 circles, that's also totally fine. But the more intersection you found these activities and projects in, the more likely they make you feel more alive. Third step, if you can easily and confidently identify that very thing that hits the center part, well, congratulations, you know your center point, you know your purpose in life. But if you still don't know, it's okay. As I said, you actively process this. I'll tell you later what you can do about it. If you kind of feel stressed out or pressured to put something in the very middle, please don't. The reason why I rely on a framework and not a definitive answer is it's just a guide. I don't want the pressure that comes with trying to make sure you choose the right path or else If you went sideways, you're already a lost cause, then pointless na yung mga gagawin mo moving forward. So the question is, how do you actively process this? And that's why I give you this. I asked a bunch of engineering friends of mine dati, ano ba tawag dito? Kasi na-encounter ko siya before while studying, but I forgot what it's called. Basically, it's an engineering tool with roots from the time of the ancient Egypt, used by suspending a pointed weight on a string to ensure that construction is vertical. So basically, it's a guide. But instead on the floor, let's use this right above the Ikigai and purpose framework. This is the best visual depiction of how you actively live your life under the intersectionality framework. In this specific context, you have to let your reason for living hang above the framework. Hayaan mo lang siya mag-explore in different directions, maybe due to circumstances or maybe because of decisions that you made on a whim. But most likely naman, you'll only do something if it answers any of the 4 questions. Let your life sway in this shaky and messy world. But don't forget that it should always find its alignment, its center of gravity, the sobering and comforting realization that there is that small space in the very middle where one gets to ask all essential life questions. In my experience, this framework has made me feel more comfortable living and exploring my life and even made me revisit the activities na nilet go ko before. Without any guilt, I can go in any direction as long as I don't let go of the idea that no matter how enticing the trajectory or the swings are, there is still that one sweet spot which brings an incomparable sense of fulfillment. I'd like to think that before societal pressure hit us, both coming from, the capitalist narratives to be rich and successful, or, may mga life coaches calling for a worldly purpose, we always felt that there's an inner voice na parang ang hirap naman mag-navigate in life in extremes na kailangan mong mamili on certain pathways. So we just point our fingers to what's in front of us. Probably because we thought that where we currently are, the position we decidedly chose, this is where we're only supposed to be. We should not move in any other way, never looking back, justifying our further march forward. We are made to believe that making a solid choice, one that is irreversible and non-negotiable, is impressive. That it's always a zero-sum game and that living our lives is just linear. I definitely disagree. If life is filled with mysteries and if this massive world is ours for the taking, it seems counterintuitive to journey through life restrictively and fearfully. But again, I am not promoting being reckless and YOLOing yourself out of this. What I am pushing for is a guided and conscientious exploration of what we're going to do with our life. But you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is no such one singular thing at the central point of the framework. But maybe it's just better to believe that there is. And that teaches us that you can maneuver through your life worry-free. Just go and explore different dimensions of your being as long as you actively gravitate back towards a point where you ponder on this life essential question. And it is with this framework why I became a content creator. I have been writing and speaking for the rest of my life. That's one thing that I'm good at, I am passionate about, and I also think that I get to communicate to people with what I do. So maybe my central purpose is communication. Maybe I just needed to actively communicate words, thoughts, and stories to other people. This is why my online platforms are here. I was cringing before whenever I say, please subscribe to my channel. But I have no problem saying pagkasama kong barkada ko na, o tara, coffee tayo, kwentuhan lang. It's the same thing. You invite people to have a conversation with you. So, what's the difference? So, do apply this in your life, especially at the time of pandemic wherein you have more time to introspect. Maybe you might want to entertain this and list down all of the things that you are currently engaged in and try to detect ano ba dito yung talaga yung nagpapasaya sa'yo that makes you feel alive. It has been helpful for me. It has pushed me to discover different potentials and different projects that I can do with my life. And you know what? Because I reached 200 subscribers in my YouTube channel, that figure is my signal to continuously explore my central point. And now I have added a new platform. Friends and family, I am happy to say that I have created my very first account in OnlyFans. Joke lang. It's in TikTok. Yes, kinain ng sistema, but I am happy about it. In one video of mine here on my channel, I said that my target audience are the millennials and Gen Zs. If I really wanted to communicate with them, I needed to be in platforms where most people are. Thus, I use TikTok. This is my platform dedicated for short-form videos, sharing anything and everything about communication. If you want tips on writing, speaking, and everything in between, please do check my TikTok account. I would gladly appreciate it if you could give me a follow. Check out my videos at Andrew Beso Shares. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, maybe now's the time for you to give me some love and support what I do. So thank you everyone for being here. My motto in this content creation journey of mine is, if you want to share better, you need to understand more. And of course, if you want to understand more, you need to learn how to share better. Bye everyone!